The stars shone quietly over Earth, a peaceful blue marble spinning in the void of space. From orbit, the planet looked calm, untouched by war, a jewel among countless worlds. Its cities sparkled with tiny lights, rivers glimmered, and oceans reflected the sun's golden rays. Humanity lived unaware that danger had crept closer, silently, from the depths of the galaxy. Across the universe, whispers spread. The Galactic Council, made up of countless intelligent species, had long watched Earth. Many laughed at the humans, calling them weak, fragile, and primitive. Their technology was basic compared to advanced galactic civilizations. Their fleets were small, their weapons simple. To most, conquering Earth would be easy, a mere footnote in galactic history. But humans were different. They had a stubborn spark that no one could measure with machines or star maps. Hidden in secret labs, under mountains, and in orbit, humans had prepared for this very day. They called it Project Aegis. No one outside Earth knew the full extent of it, not even the galaxy's most cunning spies. In a quiet control room high above the Earth's surface, Dr. Ilara Wynn stood before a bank of monitors, her sharp eyes scanning the high data streams. The flickering screens reflected in her determined gaze. "They think we are weak," she whispered softly, almost to herself. Her voice carried a mixture of fear, pride, and fierce resolve. "They have no idea what they're about to face." Dr. Wynn had devoted her life to protecting humanity. She had watched children grow up in a world she feared might be destroyed. She had lost friends and colleagues to dangerous experiments, all for this single purpose: to make Earth strong. Every decision she made now would decide the fate of millions, and yet she stood calm. Calm, because she trusted the human spirit. Far beyond the solar system, in the black emptiness between stars, the Verthak fleet moved with deadly precision. Their ships were vast, triangular silhouettes glinting faintly in starlight, bristling with weapons designed to tear planets apart. Their leader, Admiral Sakath, hovered in his flagship's bridge, eyes cold and unfeeling as they scanned the blue dot ahead. "A primitive rock," he hissed, a sound that vibrated through his ship. "Its people will fall. They cannot resist us." Scath had never faced a species like humans. His entire career had been built on conquering worlds and crushing resistance. To him, strategy was simple: power and terror. Weak civilizations fell quickly. Strong ones were unusual, but Earth seemed fragile. And yet, some hidden corner of his mind, buried deep beneath arrogance, felt a slight unease. Back on Earth, life continued almost normally. Children ran through parks, laughing and chasing one another. Farmers tended fields, unaware of the invisible threat descending from space. Engineers and workers moved through cities, building, repairing, inventing. Soldiers trained in remote bases, performing drills that seemed ordinary but had a deeper purpose. Every human, knowingly or unknowingly, was part of the planet's defense. In orbit, automated drones silently glided between orbital stations. Massive cannons, hidden from view, waited patiently. Underground bunkers bristled with advanced weapons. Satellite systems monitored every inch of space, scanning for anomalies. Humans had learned to hide their strength, to appear weaker than they were. It was the perfect defense. The galaxy would underestimate them until it was too late. The calm, before the storm, was deceiving. On Earth, people laughed, argued, and loved, blissfully unaware. Above them, unseen, systems hummed and prepared for action. A simple solar flare, a meteor, or a strange energy reading would trigger alerts across every human defense network. Every city had evacuation plans. Every soldier knew their orders. Every scientist had run calculations and simulations for years. Humanity had prepared for this moment in ways that would shock even the most confident alien invaders. Dr. Wynne turned to her assistant, a young man named Ravi, whose hands trembled slightly as he typed commands into a terminal. "They think we are weak," she repeated, this time louder. "But they have no idea how strong we can be." Ravi nodded, swallowing fear. He had grown up hearing stories of humanity surviving wars, natural disasters, and calamities that should have ended them. He believed in her. He believed in Earth. On the distant bridge of Skath's flagship, the alien admiral's crew prepared their weapons, oblivious to the storm of surprises awaiting them. Their scanners detected nothing unusual. To them, humans were unremarkable. But Skath's pride blinded him to the possibilities. He did not suspect that behind Earth's calm surface, an entire arsenal of defenses waited to strike. As Earth rotated beneath the stars, the first flickers of activity began. Satellites adjusted, orbital drones moved into position, and automated. Defense systems powered up silently. Humans had learned the most important lesson of all, that courage, intelligence, and unity were stronger than any weapon. The galaxy might see Earth as weak, but the humans knew their true strength. And when the aliens arrived, they would learn a lesson they would never forget. The calm of the stars was ending. The storm was coming, and Earth was ready. The stars were quiet, but the calm did not last. From the darkness of space, the Virthak fleet emerged, massive and menacing. Their ships moved with deadly precision, like predators closing in on helpless prey. The humans on Earth saw nothing at first, just a night sky dotted with stars, but above, orbital sensors blinked red. An alert flashed across every command center, and humanity held its breath. In orbit, Dr. Alara Wynne's hands danced across the controls. The first readings of incoming alien vessels appeared on her monitors, and her heart beat faster. "They're here," she said, her voice steady, but the tension in the control room was thick. Around her, soldiers, scientists, and engineers prepared for the unimaginable. Humans had trained for this moment for years, but training never removed. The fear of facing a fleet larger and stronger than anything they had ever seen. Down on the surface, civilians noticed the sky changing first. Strange glimmers like moving stars appeared across the horizon. People paused in confusion, some pointing, some whispering prayers, some calling loved ones. In the military bunkers, alarms blared. Soldiers rushed to stations, jets took off from airstrips, and anti-air defenses powered up. Humanity was ready, but readiness did not erase the enormity of the threat. Then it began. The first Virthak ships unleashed plasma storms. Blinding beams of energy struck cities and forests alike, incinerating anything in their path. Fires erupted, buildings collapsed, and smoke climbed high into the atmosphere. The roar of destruction reached even those who were miles away from the strike. Earth had faced disasters before, storms, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, but nothing like this. This was war on a scale no human had ever imagined. And yet, humans did not panic. From orbit, hidden and silent, Earth's defenses struck back. Orbital cannons, invisible to alien sensors, fired with precision. Energy beams pierced the shields of the Virthak ships, creating sudden, violent explosions. Automated drones swarmed like silver clouds, weaving between the alien vessels, striking weak points and confusing enemy targeting systems. Entire ships vanished in flashes of light, leaving alien pilots stunned and unprepared. On the ground, Lieutenant Kiran Das watched the holographic display in the command center. His hands gripped the railing as he saw the impossible happening. They're losing," he whispered, disbelief and awe fighting inside him. He had trained his whole life to protect Earth, but he never imagined humanity could defend itself like this. Yet every strike, every maneuver, every plan humans had created was working. The aliens were not invincible. The Veerthak Admiral Sakath could not understand what was happening. His voice shook with rage as alarms blared on his flagship. Shields! Failing! How is this possible? These humans, they were supposed to be weak! He slammed his fist against the console. For the first time, he felt the sting of fear. The invaders had underestimated humans, and the cost was already clear. Meanwhile, on Earth, civilians acted with courage they didn't know they had. Teachers led children to safe zones, volunteers organized medical teams, and ordinary citizens helped fight fires, build barricades, and assist the military. Humanity was not perfect. Losses were real, and pain was everywhere. But unity and resilience surged like a tide. Every individual, every family, every soldier became part of a greater force. In the skies above New York, Captain Lena Hart led a squadron of human fighter jets. Explosions from orbital strikes lit the night like fireworks, but she didn't pause. She maneuvered her jets between alien energy blasts, dodging plasma strikes with daring skill that no alien could anticipate. Each pilot in her squadron fought not just for survival, but for every soul on Earth below. "For Earth!" she shouted over the comms, a cry that became a beacon of hope for her team. Even with every human weapon firing, the battle was not without cost. Cities burned. Thousands were injured. Entire neighborhoods were flattened. The horror of war was real, but humanity endured. Each life lost became a spark of determination for the survivors. Parents protected their children, friends shielded friends, and soldiers stood firm even as the sky fell around them. Dr. Wynne made split-second decisions, calculating trajectories and firing sequences that had never been tested in real combat. Every choice was life or death, yet despite exhaustion, fear, and grief, she pushed forward. "We cannot fail," she whispered to herself. The battle over Earth had ended, for now, but the echoes of the first strike rippled across the galaxy. Word of humanity's resistance spread like wildfire through star systems, from the sleek halls of Centauran councils to the vast floating cities of the Zareth. Leaders watched the reports in disbelief. For centuries, humans had been dismissed as weak, primitive, unworthy of attention. Now, every transmission, every destroyed Veerthak ship challenged that notion. "They actually fought back," whispered Ambassador Lithra of the Centauran Empire. Her antennas twitched nervously as she reviewed the images. The human fighters darted across the sky, dodging plasma and destroying alien warships. Entire fleets had fallen in hours. "They are intelligent, adaptable, courageous," she added, awe in her voice. Even the Zareth, a species whose pride had been unshakable for millennia, were stunned. "We underestimated them," said the Zareth military advisor, his many eyes narrowing at the holographic display. "They survived, against impossible odds, against our kind." Back on Earth, the planet remained tense. Fires smoldered in cities, and emergency crews worked tirelessly to save lives. The first strike had cost thousands of lives, but humanity's spirit remained unbroken. Soldiers trained in rapid response and defensive strategy patrolled streets and skies, ready for the inevitable second wave. Civilians pitched in wherever they could: food, medicine, transportation, shelter. Every human had become part of a greater force, united by fear, hope, and sheer determination. President Mariam Noor addressed her people in a broadcast that reached every corner of the globe, standing in front of a panoramic screen showing both the damage and the bravery of humanity. She spoke with calm authority. "They thought we were weak," she said. "They believed our planet could be destroyed without resistance. Tonight, we showed them what it means to fight for life, for family, for home. Humanity will not surrender. Humanity will not fall." Her words resonated. Across cities, people cheered, clapped, and cried. Streets that had been filled with chaos now pulsed with a renewed energy, a collective heartbeat of defiance. Mothers hugged children tighter, soldiers steeled themselves, and every person remembered that the galaxy had underestimated them. In orbital command centers, Dr. Alara Wynn reviewed the damage reports. The alien fleet had underestimated humans in every way possible: speed, ingenuity, and adaptability. "They thought we were easy prey," she said quietly, her voice carrying a mixture of triumph and sorrow for the lives lost. "They will learn in time that Earth does not yield." The humans had not only survived, they had adapted. Fighter pilots executed complex maneuvers designed to confuse alien sensors. Drones created decoys, striking from unexpected angles. Hidden energy cannons had vaporized massive ships before they could even fire properly. Humanity's defense was not brute force. It was cunning, calculated, and driven by emotion. Every human life mattered. Every act of courage amplified the planet's resistance. Meanwhile, Admiral Sakath and the Virthak fleet retreated into the void of space, their pride shattered. He had never imagined a species so primitive could counter his forces with such precision. Every simulation he had run predicted Earth's swift fall, yet reality had proven him wrong. His crews were muttering, confused, and terrified. "These humans, they are not like any species we have encountered," muttered one officer. "They fight with heart. It is unnatural." The alien admiral's anger grew with each passing hour. He had intended to conquer Earth in a single strike, to demonstrate Virthak power to the galaxy. Instead, his pride had been shattered in hours, and his fleet was diminished. And far worse, the galaxy had seen it all. Every race that had dismissed humanity now watched in shock. They were no longer irrelevant. They were a warning. From distant star systems, humans who had left Earth decades ago listened to the transmissions in disbelief. Scientists, traders, and explorers were amazed to learn that the planet they had left behind was not just surviving, it was fighting back in ways that no one thought possible. Humanity was no longer small or weak. It had become legendary, even in its own time. On Earth, life moved forward amidst the tension. Citizens rebuilt shelters, restored communications, and tended the wounded. Children asked questions about the strange ships that had attacked their cities, and parents answered with a mixture of honesty and hope. The stories of bravery spread quickly. Captain Lena Hart's squadron became heroes. Volunteers who had rescued families were celebrated. Humanity found pride in its unity, in its willingness to fight not for glory, but for survival. Dr. Wynn knew the truth. The Virthak would return. Their anger and pride would not allow defeat, but humans had proven one vital fact: they were not powerless. Every system, every weapon, every hidden cannon had worked exactly as designed. The galaxy had witnessed a species that could fight, endure, and overcome. The real victory was not just survival, it was recognition. Humanity had earned the attention of the galaxy, not by conquest, but by resilience. They had shown that their strength was not in size, speed, or technology alone, but in unity, courage, and intelligence. And that lesson, once learned, could not be unlearned. As night fell across Earth, the skies were scarred but beautiful. Fires burned in the distance, reflecting in the calm oceans. In remote command centers, humans watched the stars, knowing that the next strike was coming. And somewhere, deep in the void, the galaxy watched too, no longer dismissive, no longer laughing, but wary, cautious, and perhaps even afraid. In that silence, a single thought echoed across every human mind. They thought we were weak. They were wrong, and we will be ready. Earth had survived the first strike. Humanity had proven itself, and now the galaxy would never see them the same way again. The Virthak had retreated, But Earth did not celebrate. Humans knew the alien. Fleet would return, stronger and more determined than ever. Cities were scarred, skies still bore traces of fires, and the wounded were everywhere. Yet, beneath the rubble, a quiet determination grew. Humanity had survived the first strike, and now the fight would continue with greater intensity. Captain. Lena Hart stood on the deck of an orbital carrier, staring at the horizon where the first enemy signals flickered. Her squadron had been battered, some pilots lost forever, but she felt a surge of defiance. "We know them now," she said, voice firm over the comms. "We know how they fight. They can't hide from us anymore." Her eyes gleamed. Humans had learned from their mistakes. Every battle taught them something new, and every human soul carried courage that no alien strategy could predict. In the command center below, Dr. Ilara Wynn analyzed the incoming fleet data. Alien formations were larger and more coordinated this time. They would not make the same mistakes. "They've learned," she said softly, almost to herself. "But so have we." Behind her, engineers adjusted orbital defenses, reloaded automated drones, and prepared secret energy cannons hidden deep beneath the Earth's surface. Humanity's greatest advantage was not just weapons, it was ingenuity. They adapted, they planned, and they fought with heart. On the ground, soldiers prepared for war in ways that the Virthak could never anticipate. Anti-air batteries were hidden among urban ruins, patrols moved with stealth, and civilians were trained to assist in emergency response. Every human had become part of the planet's defense. From children carrying emergency supplies to engineers maintaining power grids, the planet itself seemed alive with resistance. The Virthak returned with a roar of fire and fury. Thousands of ships filled the skies, plasma beams cutting through the atmosphere, igniting buildings and forests. The second strike was more violent, more coordinated, designed to crush human morale and bring total devastation. But the humans were ready. Captain Lena Hart's squadron roared into the fray. Jets darted between alien blasts, weaving through, beams that could destroy them in seconds. Each maneuver was precise, calculated, and deadly. She shouted orders to her team, inspiring them with a courage that spread through every fighter. Every human in the sky knew the stakes. This was not just a fight for survival, but a fight to prove their place in the galaxy. Down below, Lieutenant Kiran Das led ground forces against the alien landers. Mines and hidden turrets erupted in perfect timing, catching Virthak soldiers off guard. Alien troops expecting minimal resistance were slaughtered by humans who had learned to anticipate every move. Even in moments of terror, human soldiers refused to retreat. Fear existed, yes, but bravery burned brighter. In orbit, Dr. Wynn coordinated orbital strikes. Energy cannons fired in synchronized patterns, vaporizing large alien cruisers before they could reach the planet's surface. Drones swarmed in perfect formations, confusing enemy targeting systems. Every strike, every calculation, was designed not just to kill, but to protect lives below. Humans fought not for conquest, but for survival, and that made every action sharper, faster, more desperate. Among the civilians, courage and resourcefulness flourished. Volunteers rescued trapped families, constructed barriers, and created medical stations in unexpected places. A small group of engineers diverted power from a ruined city block to activate a hidden defense array, their hands trembling as the system roared to life. Humanity had turned desperation into strategy, weakness into strength, fear into resolve. The tide began to turn. Alien ships, once confident, now faltered. The Virthak were forced. The sun rose over a battered Earth, painting the skies in shades of red and gold, but the planet's wounds were still visible. Cities lay in ruins, forests smoldered, and smoke rose in long pillars toward the clouds. Humanity had survived the first wave of alien attacks, but the cost had been staggering. Thousands were dead, countless more injured. Yet amidst the devastation, the human spirit burned brighter than ever. Captain Lena Hart stood on the deck of her orbital carrier, gazing down at the cities below. Fires still raged in some districts, but people were already working to rebuild. Volunteers distributed food, soldiers patrolled the streets, and engineers repaired power grids. Every survivor, every small act of courage became part of the larger battle for humanity's survival. "We fight not just to survive," Lena said quietly, her eyes scanning the horizon. "We fight because this is our home." Down on the ground, Lieutenant Amir Rahman led a team of soldiers through the wreckage of a city district. Alien landers had destroyed entire blocks, but Amir's squad pressed forward to protect civilians trapped in the ruins. He knew the dangers, yet he moved with fearless determination. When a Virthak warship descended overhead, its plasma cannon aimed at a group of children, Amir made a decision that would define his life. He guided the children to safety, then triggered a self-destruct device on a nearby drone to destroy the ship. The explosion lit the sky, and Amir did not survive. But the children lived, and his sacrifice inspired every soldier who heard his story. Everywhere, humans displayed acts of valor. Civilians became heroes, engineers became warriors, and soldiers fought with a courage that transcended fear. Families sheltered each other, protecting the young and elderly, and even ordinary workers wielded tools and machinery as weapons to slow the alien advance. Humanity had learned that survival was not just about weapons. It was about unity, intelligence, and heart. In the Orbital Command Center, Dr. Ilara Wynn coordinated defenses with calm precision. She directed orbital cannons, deployed drones, and rerouted energy to protect critical areas on the planet. Every decision carried weight. Every choice could save lives or end them. Her hands shook as she watched explosions on the surface, but she pressed forward, knowing that her resolve could inspire thousands below. "We will not falter," she said, voice steady though her heart ached. "We cannot." The Virthak, growing desperate, launched targeted strikes on cities and military bases. They expected fear, panic, and surrender. Instead, they found humans standing firm. Fighter pilots led daring attacks even when facing overwhelming odds. Ground forces countered alien squads with traps, mines, and clever tactics that the Virthak could not anticipate. Every time the aliens thought they had the advantage, humans adapted, survived, and struck back. One of the most emotional battles unfolded over the capital city. Captain Lena Hart's squadron intercepted a massive alien cruiser attempting to breach the city's defenses. Her pilots were outnumbered, their jets smaller and weaker than the alien vessel, but Lena had a plan. "We hit their engines first," she shouted. "Then we go for the shields. Follow me, and trust yourselves." Jets dove through the alien firestorm, narrowly avoiding destruction. Explosions ripped through the cruiser, and the pilots executed precise maneuvers that shattered its systems. Some did not survive, but the city below remained intact. Humanity had learned to fight together, to protect each other, and to sacrifice when necessary. Even ordinary civilians contributed to the war effort. Medical teams treated hundreds of wounded under bombardment, risking their lives to save strangers. Engineers activated hidden defense arrays, sometimes at the cost of their own safety. Families worked together to evacuate the injured, improvise shelters, and defend their homes. Each action, large or small, became part of a tapestry of courage that no alien army could understand or predict. Admiral Sakath watched from the command bridge of his flagship, his fury growing with each failure. His fleet was faltering, morale breaking. "These humans, they fight with everything they have," he hissed. "They sacrifice, they endure. They do not fear death. How can this be? They are supposed to be weak." But it was true. Humans, were not weak. They were relentless, resilient, and driven by a force that no alien logic could calculate: the will to protect their planet, their people, and each other. Among the survivors, stories of heroism spread quickly. Lieutenant Amir Rahman's sacrifice became a legend. Captain Lena Hart's daring maneuvers inspired a new generation of pilots. Engineers, medics, and volunteers were celebrated not just for what they did, but for the courage they displayed in the face of impossible odds. Humanity was learning the most important lesson of war. Victory was not just about destroying the enemy, it was about protecting life, inspiring hope, and standing united even when all seemed lost. As night fell, fires still burned in some cities, and the cries of the wounded filled the air. But the mood was not despair, it was resolve. Humanity had faced annihilation and had endured. Every loss was mourned, yes, but every act of courage became a spark, igniting determination across the planet. Humans were no longer just survivors. They were warriors. Dr. Wynne allowed herself a brief moment of reflection. She thought of the thousands who had died, the families who mourned, the cities in ruins. And yet, she also thought of the courage. She had seen pilots risking their lives, civilians defending strangers, soldiers sacrificing themselves for the greater good. Humanity was not weak. They were extraordinary. Their sacrifices had forged a strength that the galaxy had never imagined. Somewhere, beyond the planet, the galaxy watched. Races that had underestimated humans were beginning to whisper of courage. Intelligence and resilience, the Virthak could no longer claim Earth as an easy target. Humanity had proven that it could fight, endure, and overcome. And on Earth, amid ruins and fires, humans held their heads high. They mourned, they healed, and they prepared. For every life lost, every act of bravery had one purpose: to ensure that Earth would survive, no matter the cost. Sacrifice had been made, valor had been shown, humanity had become something greater than anyone had expected, a force the galaxy would never forget. The alien fleet returned, larger and deadlier than before. Thousands of Virthak ships formed a shadow over Earth, blocking out stars with their immense size. Each vessel bristled with weapons, glowing with lethal energy. Admiral Scath's voice rang through his flagship, cold and commanding. This time, there will be no mercy. They will fall. Every human, every city, obliterated. But Earth had changed. Humans had endured strikes, survived devastation, and learned from every attack. Every city had defenses hidden beneath the surface. Every pilot had strategies honed in battle, and every civilian was part of the planet's resistance. This was no longer a surprise. They had been tested, scarred, and prepared for the ultimate confrontation. Captain Lena Hart climbed into her jet, feeling the weight of every life depending on her. "This is it," she said to her squadron. "The final fight. We either survive together or not at all. Remember, we are not weak. We are humanity." Her words were echoed across comms, every pilot feeling a surge of courage, their fear replaced with determination. On the ground, Lieutenant Kiran Das led squads through the cities, coordinating defensive fire and evacuations. Mines, turrets, and hidden energy cannons were activated, forming deadly networks across every major city. Civilians moved quickly, guided by plans drilled into them for months. Fear was present, yes, but so was courage, and it burned brighter than the fires left by the Virthak. Dr. Ilara Wynne stood in the orbital command center, scanning the approaching fleet. She tapped commands rapidly, coordinating every orbital: weapon, drone, and hidden defense system. "This is it," she whispered. Her hands moved with precision, her mind calculating trajectories, shield reinforcements, and attack sequences. Humanity's survival depended on every decision. Every moment mattered. The Virthak struck first, Plasma storms rained down from orbit, hitting cities and forests. Energy beams tore through buildings, incinerating anything in their path. Ships descended to land troops, aiming to capture or destroy strategic points. The second strike had been devastating, but humans had anticipated it. Automated shields flared to life, drones intercepted the descending ships, and hidden cannons fired with deadly accuracy. Captain Lena Hart and her squadron intercepted a massive cruiser attempting to land troops in the capital city. Jets weaved between alien energy blasts, missiles streaking toward the cruiser's weak points. Explosions lit the sky in brilliant flashes, reflecting off rivers and skyscrapers below. "For Earth!" Lena shouted, and her pilots responded, with daring maneuvers that defied logic, striking with courage that only humans could summon. On the ground, Lieutenant Kiran Das saw alien squads advancing through ruined streets. His forces, though outnumbered, fought with precision and intelligence. Traps, mines, and concealed energy weapons tore through the invaders. Civilians assisted in surprising ways. Engineers powered emergency shields, volunteers carried supplies, and families moved the injured to safety. Every human acted as a soldier in a war that threatened every life on the planet. The battle raged across skies, cities, and forests. Fires lit the night, but the humans fought with a unity the Virthak could not comprehend. Every strike from the aliens was met with clever. The battle was over, but Earth remained scarred. Cities lay in ruins, forests smoldered, and rivers carried ash to oceans. Yet amid the destruction, life persisted. Humanity had endured, and in enduring, it had proven something no alien or distant species could deny. Earth was not weak. Humanity was not fragile. Humanity was a force the galaxy had never imagined. In the Orbital Command Center, Dr. Alara Wynn surveyed the aftermath. Her eyes, tired from sleepless nights, scanned the damaged fleets of the Virthak scattered across the void. Humans had destroyed hundreds of enemy ships and driven the rest into retreat. But she did not celebrate lightly. The cost had been enormous. Thousands of lives had been lost, countless families mourned, and entire cities needed rebuilding. Yet beneath her exhaustion was pride. Humanity had faced extinction and stood unbroken. Captain Lena Hart landed her jet on the carrier deck, smoke curling from engines still hot from the fight. Her squadron, battered and weary, filed in behind her. "We did it," Lena whispered, voice trembling with relief. Her pilots nodded, their eyes reflecting pain, exhaustion, and pride. They had flown into impossible odds and emerged victorious. They had defended not just cities, but a species, a planet, and a legacy. On the ground, survivors began rebuilding immediately. Volunteers, soldiers, engineers, and civilians worked side by side. Families who had been torn apart by the chaos reunited, comforting one another and assisting in rescue operations. The pain of loss remained, but it was mingled with the determination to survive, rebuild, and thrive. Humanity had not only won a battle, they had reclaimed their planet and their dignity. President Mariam Noor addressed the world in a broadcast seen across every continent. Standing before images of both devastation and courage, she spoke with unwavering clarity. "They thought we were weak," she said. "They thought Earth could be conquered easily. But today, we have proven them wrong. Today, humanity has shown the galaxy what it means to fight, to endure, and to protect those we love. Let the universe hear this. Earth will not be taken. Humanity will not surrender." Her words resonated far beyond the planet. Across the galaxy, species that had once dismissed humans as insignificant now listened, watched, and learned. The Centaurans, the Zareth, and countless other civilizations recorded the events, their leaders whispering in disbelief. "These humans, they are remarkable," Ambassador Lithra murmured. "They survived against impossible odds. They fight with courage, strategy, and heart. We misjudged them. Even the retreating Virthak fleet was shaken. Admiral Sakath, his pride shattered, contemplated the battle in silence. His ships were crippled, his soldiers demoralized, and the galaxy had witnessed his failure. "They are not weak," he admitted, voice low and bitter. "They are stronger than any of us expected." For the first time, he understood that intelligence, courage, and unity could overcome even the most advanced weaponry. On Earth, the people celebrated quietly, not with reckless joy, but with the solemn pride of those who had faced death and refused to bow. Captain Lena Hart and her pilots flew over cities, waving to the crowds below. Soldiers paraded through streets, not as conquerors, but as protectors. Volunteers distributed food and water, repaired infrastructure, and comforted the wounded. Humanity had survived not because of technology alone, but because every individual had chosen courage, sacrifice, and solidarity. Dr. Wynne activated a global communication broadcast, sending a message across the galaxy. The transmission was simple yet powerful: images of human resistance, stories of bravery, and clear words for every civilization to hear. "We are Earth," the message began. "We are not weak. We fight for our homes, our families, and our future. To those who watch us, to those who would challenge us, humanity will endure. Humanity will protect what is ours, and humanity will never yield." In distant star systems, species that had underestimated humans now paused in awe. Entire councils debated what they had witnessed. Scholars analyzed the tactics humans had used, and military leaders reconsidered every assumption they had held about Earth. The message was clear: underestimate humans at your own peril. Even in grief, humanity found strength. Lieutenant Kiran Das's sacrifice, Captain Lena Hart's daring, maneuvers, and countless unsung heroes became stories passed from person to person. Every human who had fought, survived, or helped in any way became part of the legacy that would define Earth for generations. Their courage was not just for themselves. It was a beacon, a signal to the galaxy that this species could not be ignored. Night fell on Earth, but the skies were alive with distant lights of orbital repair stations, reconstructed defense satellites, and the glimmer of human activity. Cities slowly regained life. Children laughed again in streets, and families embraced under stars that now seemed closer and brighter. Humanity had endured devastation, fought against impossible odds, and emerged not just alive, but stronger, wiser, and more united. And somewhere beyond the stars, the galaxy took notice. Races that had dismissed humans as weak now whispered their names with respect and perhaps a touch of fear. Earth had survived, and humanity had sent its message loud and clear. They thought we were weak. They were wrong. Always wrong. Dr. Wynne looked at the glowing planet below, the fires dimming, the people rebuilding, the survivors standing tall. "We showed them," she said softly. "We showed the galaxy who we are." Her voice carried pride, sorrow, and hope. Humanity had not only survived, they had announced their presence to the universe in a way no one could ignore. Across Earth, from orbital stations to remote villages, humans looked to the stars with renewed courage. They had faced annihilation and emerged victorious. They had learned that the strength of a species was not measured by its weapons alone, but by its heart, its courage, and its unity. Humanity had survived. Humanity had triumphed. Humanity had spoken, and the galaxy had listened. The battle had ended, but Earth would never forget. Cities bore scars from the Virthak assault, forests were blackened, and rivers carried ash to oceans. Yet amidst the ruin, life thrived. Humanity had survived, and in surviving, had proven something the galaxy could no longer deny. Earth was strong, and its people were unstoppable. Captain Lena Hart stood on the deck of her orbital carrier, gazing at the horizon where the first alien remnants had retreated. Her eyes traced the glimmer of reconstruction, of cities rising from rubble, of survivors helping one another. She felt exhaustion deep in her bones, yet beneath it was a pride so fierce it warmed her heart. Humanity had endured annihilation and had fought back with courage that no enemy could anticipate. On the ground, Lieutenant Kiran Das's memory remained vivid. His sacrifice during the earlier strikes had saved countless lives, and his story spread across cities and villages. Children learned of his bravery, families honored him, and soldiers carried his example into every battle. Humanity's heroes were not only those who survived, they were those who had given everything to protect others. Each act of valor had forged a legacy stronger than any weapon. Dr. Ilara Wynne surveyed the Orbital Command Center. Repairs were underway, drones and satellites humming softly as they were restored. Humanity had endured incredible loss, but they had also displayed a level of unity, intelligence, and bravery that reshaped the galaxy's understanding of their species. Dr. Wynne allowed herself a moment of reflection. "We fought for life, for home, for each other," she whispered. "And in doing so, we became more than a planet. We became a symbol." The president addressed the world once more, this time not from behind a screen of chaos, but among the people of Earth, standing in a city square rebuilt with hands that had refused to yield. "They thought we were weak," President Mariam Noor said, her voice carrying across every street, every home, every heart. "They believed Earth could be conquered, that our species could be broken. But we are stronger than they imagined. We endured. We fought. We protected our own. And we will continue to do so." Her words were echoed by children who had survived, by families who had protected each other, by soldiers, pilots, engineers, and volunteers who had risked everything. Humanity's victory was not measured by ships destroyed or battles won alone. It was measured by heart, courage, and resilience. Across the galaxy, whispers became recognition. Species that had dismissed humans now acknowledged their power, not in raw weaponry alone, but in ingenuity, unity, and spirit. Even the Virthak, humbled by their failure, had begun to understand that intelligence alone could not conquer a species that fought with love, courage, and unwavering determination. Earth had become a symbol, a warning, and a beacon. Amid reconstruction, humans began sharing knowledge, rebuilding technology, and preparing for future challenges. The war had taught painful lessons, but it had also revealed incredible strengths. Scientists collaborated across borders, engineers innovated new defense systems, and pilots trained the next generation to fly with courage and skill. Every individual, whether civilian or soldier, had learned that survival depended not only on strength, but on unity, strategy, and heart. Captain Lena Hart looked out across the city she had helped protect. Children laughed in the streets, families rebuilt homes, and the fires of the past were being replaced with light. She knew the galaxy had watched, and she felt a deep pride. Humanity had not only survived, it had sent a message. Earth was a planet of